Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rex. Today we have a box to go through. Lots of stuff in here. I don't know if I'll be able to get through the entire box today, but we'll try. This box is full of models, mini Zs, other micros. I'm excited. Let's get started. All right, so at the top of the box, we've got a lot of model kits. Got one new in box, some of them sealed, some of them not. I've done a lot of model kits, but I'm not great. I like seeing a lot of people on YouTube put in some serious detail, carpet fibers and cloth feeling looking seats and things like that. I used to buy the race car versions of street cars. Example, rally cars, Subaru Impreza, Corolla, WRC, Jack's Honda Accord. I bought those and I didn't put any of the livery stickers on. I painted them up and built them like a modified street car, and they looked really, really cool. A couple of these Tamiya mini four-wheel drive things, these trucks, they're really cool. Fixed axles, no steering, no RC. You just turn it on and it runs like a Tonka Go kind of truck. My kids guide their lunchbox and mini Mammoth with a hockey stick. If you haven't seen before on my channel, this was gifted to me by a viewer. Apparently this can take a little nitro engine. You build it out of balsa and paper. I'm a little scared of starting this thing. We have a Losi Micro Rally, which is basically their four-wheel drive desert truck micro chassis. These were really popular. And at the hobby shop I was part of, we made a track to race the micros, the micro Ts. Let me see if I can find mine. There's no micro T in the box, but they use these bodies, as you can see. So they're basically RC10s, but super micro, rear-wheel drive. And we used to race these around a little track. So yeah, we used to race short courses, the rally cars, and these micros. Those were some good days. Companies like 3 Racing and Intigi were making upgrades for them. I wish I had it here. So we raced them every week for quite a while. I think there was 2 or 3 seasons. And then that led on to some outdoor racing. We've got a Mini Z Monster, I think it was called. This one is quite modified. It's only rear-wheel drive, motor sitting on axle in the rear, and steering servo sitting on front axle here. The links weren't this big, they were much smaller, but I extended the links, I cut them and extended them, and I cut the body, bastardized it, kind of butchered it a bit, but just to make a sort of a crawling thing. When I did this back then, there was no micro crawling truck, so this was really cool. It was actually quite capable, even though it's rear-wheel drive. Tires are really soft, not so soft anymore. These things go for a pretty penny now. I'll probably restore the links and get this kind of normal, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I don't know if I have any interest in really keeping this. And we have some mini Z stuff. At the beginning of COVID, we were cleaning out the house and I needed some space. So I sold a whole bunch of my mini Z stuff. I kept a lot of it, but I sold a lot of it. And I had a lot. If you've ever seen my super early videos from a really long time ago, I've got, I don't know, mini Z collection videos that have quite a bit of cars. This is the original chassis from the MA010 or MA010, the original all-wheel drive mini Z, which I think pretty elite because it's almost got pan car-like suspension all around, giving it super reactive characteristics. I did put a mod on here from Atomic that ended up making it independent suspension. I wish I'd kept it, but I sold it. It was modded like nuts. I had all the chassis, every single chassis you could think of, the MA010, the MR01. Anyway, they had an all-wheel drive, a rear-wheel drive. Then they had this little sport chassis version, which was rear-wheel drive. Then they had this LM that had come out just as I was getting out of it. This is the only Mini Z I have left. And the reason I kept this Mini Z chassis is because it's because of the radio system. It was really difficult to play with the other systems because of the radio chatter, and they never ran properly once the radios got old. I can't seem to find the controller for this. I might have thrown it out at some point when I was storing it at one of my workplaces. So I need a remote control to work with this thing. I used to race these a lot with friends, made little foam tracks. Usually when you go smaller, things aren't as precise, but these are so precise. Mini Zs are a lot of money, but in my opinion, if you have a place to run them, they are 100% worth it. A really cool thing about them is you can change the wheelbase. On top of changing the wheelbase, you can choose where the motor goes, either behind the rear axle, on top of the rear axle, or in front of the rear axle. And that also is determined by the body you choose. So example, this body has to use this setup if you want the rear wheel drive. This also goes on the all wheel drive, of course, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, I can't run this here because the motor hangs out. I'd have to run the motor in the mid section and the wheelbase smaller. Same with this one here. So you can guess that depending on what body you're using and what positions you have, the car drives completely different. So I went ham. I had, I think, 7 chassis at one point and ended up buying all the bodies because I wanted to feel what they felt like. We'll go through the rest of the box here now. I had probably at one point about 150 cars, 150 auto scales they call them, which is a body like this. And you see it says on the box here what it's for. You know, narrow chassis, wide chassis, rear mount motor, mid mount motor, low mount motor, high mount motor. Sorry, not low mount, that's a LM. So basically, every single time you change the body on your chassis, you have a totally different handling vehicle. And to me, that was so special. That meant you could have so many more RCs for only the price of another body. But it also got expensive because I ended up buying almost 2 bodies of every single one to run and one to display. Since then, I've sold a lot of them. I maybe only have 15 left out of that 150. This might be a rare one, I don't know, because these bodies were actually the best running bodies. They're so light compared to the rest of the bodies. Like this body's so heavy, this body's super light. And I bought a few of these because I liked it so much. As you can see, I've smashed up the wings off of this. They get pretty messed up when you hit the walls. I was trying to go for a spoon theme on this one. It was a custom paint job that a buddy of mine did for me. Thanks, Jay. This got really busted up because I ran this this all-wheel drive. This was the original body that came with my all-wheel drive Mini Z, and I ran this on the Micro T track. There's an off-road Micro T track. I might have some footage of it actually running on my channel. Another body. At this point, the bodies you're about to see are just things that I wanted to keep and collect, not things I wanted to run. I've got a tin here full of stuff. Oh, the Micro T's! Okay, I do have the Micro T's. Oh my goodness, thank goodness. Okay, so I have 2. I should have more though. I have more. One's missing. There's supposed to be one with aluminum shocks. And that was mine that I raced. That was first season. So first season we ran that. I ran one of these and these were so fun. And a tin bin full of stuff. Oh, here are the wheels that I used. These were the 3 racing wheels, which were bigger, which ends up giving me more top speed. Not as much acceleration, but it didn't matter because we used lipos anyway. But definitely gave me lots of speed with these big wheels. Lots of grip. Tons of parts in here too, I'm sure. Mini Z stuff. Short course wheels. Oh, short course wheels. These were the short course wheels that went on this rally chassis. These are all-wheel drive, just like full size. Like these were the best micros we've ever seen. That's why we raced these. We promoted it and we ran. Look at that. Let me pull off the body for people who don't know. Actually, I'll just throw a picture up. Just like a full-size RC, but micro. Losi, I think, was one of the best to do micros. Losi mainly because all of their stuff was basically miniaturized versions of the full big ones. Every other company usually just does a white labeled or a custom small compact chassis that doesn't look anything like their big one. Like, here's an example. Here's a Losi mini truck, the mini LST. The proper LST looked exactly like this. 3 plates at the bottom for lower chassis, twin vertical rails on either side, and top plate deck. Bulkheads, full proper suspension, adjustable, slipper clutch. I believe RCs were better at that point. Anyway, we're not talking about that. All right, well, I'm happy I found my micros. You guys remember Xmods? So I had a lot of those too, but I sold them all. But I forgot about these things. I guess I found them later on. And I've got body kit for a Skyline. I've got tuning parts, motors. What are these? Oh, I already put the bearings in. So these are the bushings. My suspension parts. Oh, all-wheel drive upgrade. Whoa, look at all that stuff in there. So I got lots of stuff for Xmods. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I have NSX parts as well, NSX upgrade parts. Shoot me an email if this is your thing and maybe we'll work something out. This is a Mini Z Overland off-road truck. I don't know how much you know about these, but they were the first Mini Z off-roads. Right now you see the Mini Z 4x4s. Something's wrong here. I'll figure it out. But this was a rear-wheel drive, come on, chassis with the motor mounted on the rear axle. 4 AA batteries with interchangeable bodies. I might have 1 or 2 truck bodies left, but I've sold them all, and I had a lot. So here it is, with the crystal and everything. And I've obviously modified it. The shocks are supposed to mount up there, but I've lowered them to give it a lift, basically. But here's the system. Pretty cool. Actually quite capable. These are Lego tires. I don't know if you've noticed, but they give much better grip than the stock tire. These actually go quite fast. They're not crawlers. I wouldn't even call them trail trucks. I say keep the tires that come on them and run them. I've got video of my Mercedes G-Wagon running the Micro T-Track. That's a stiff mount. Not sure what I want to do with that yet. I don't even know if I have a radio that makes that run. Actually, I do. Tons of parts. I used a lot of these Tupperware things. It says wheels and tires. GPM and PN Racing. I don't even know if these are soft anymore. Well, these were the stock upgraded tires, I think, for the Overland. Oh yeah, I miss these tires. They're so soft. I went through lots of them, trying different types of tires to see what would stick best for Mini Z. Look at this tire. Hopefully the camera gets it. But it's got like, what do you call those things? Where the rubber's pushed all along to the edge. This was one of the stickiest tires that I used to run. And here we have a stock Overland tire. So you can see stock versus off-road. Pretty cool difference. Seems I have some springs for a Losi. Oh yeah, these are for the Losi aluminum shocks that I had. I don't know where they are. I might have given it to my buddy by mistake. I'm gonna have to give him a call back. More Tupperware. We got motors, pinions, and stuff. Oh yeah, pinions and diffs and stuff. Spurs, ring gears, motors. Oh, yeah. When I sold my stuff, I gave him all my good motors, my good everything. I didn't strip it. Oh, okay. So these are just adapters and mounts for different pinions, different motor positions. Suspension parts. Mini Z chassis parts. That is for the all-wheel drive, basically. Most of the stuff is from the all-wheel drive. This is one of the systems, one of the double wishbone suspension systems from back then. For the all-wheel drive, I think it was. Yeah, because it has space for a diff here. These were the original Mini Z Monster tires before I put on those off-road tires, off-road blocks or whatever, square blocks. I don't know what they are. Actually, they look kind of like speech bubbles, like in a comic book. Mini Z buggy. Some of you may have seen a video I have on my channel about this already. I was at the Mini Z track many years later when I was out of RC already, watching some friends race. And this happened to be behind his counter. And I was just kind of looking at it like, man, it's been a long time since I bought any RC. I don't even know what the heck this is. I don't even know they released one of these things. He's like, yeah, it's one of the Mini Z buggies. It's the last one I got left. You want it? I'll give you a discount on it. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, sure. Why not? I've had good experience with Mini Z. Let's do it. And this is a great buy. It's a little slow. They have brushless versions now. Hello. Got some more beautiful auto scales. I'm sure everybody knows what that is. All right, the Hyundai Pony. When Mini Z's came out with the option of the LM version, which was also the first Spectrum style radio system without crystals, they needed a new chassis. So the LM is actually lower than the other cars. I wish I had an MR something, MR01 to compare, MR02 to compare with for you guys. But the new chassis, the LM, was lower in order to fit these new bodies. Honda HSV, Honda NSX, I'm sure you've noticed the NSX theme by now. I am quite the NSX fan. The original 90s NSX. Here we have a test car. We are nearing the end now. There is one I highly regret not keeping, but I was able to sell it for quite a good amount. And that was the old red 911 I had. I ended up buying a bunch of these NASCARs because they were offered on a simple basic sport chassis. That was a good buy. I really should have kept them all. This is a replica of my race car. Beautiful detail in these things. This is a very special one. This is an unpainted body that I've been keeping for the future. It's a Honda Odyssey minivan. I don't know what I'll paint it, but I really like this van. And I even had one on my Nitro RS43. HPI made them for a while, and I had one or two of them. And last thing in the box is a toy from my childhood that I recently found at a toy show. Well, not recently, about 5 or 6 years ago. This is a crash test dummy. If you don't remember what this is, these were meant as a promotional toys for safety, for wearing your seatbelt. So they had these cars and all of these other vehicles and other scenarios where your dummy would crash. And when it crashed, they all had various buttons in different places. This button would be pressed and they would pop apart. Each one of them did a different style of pop apart or fall apart or break. As you see, eyeballs came out here, ear, his head spun. My guy is called Spin, but he flies apart. I'm not sure what Slick does here. And there's a, oh God, there's a baby too. I don't know what happens to the baby. Oh yeah, the animals. I forgot about the animals. Anyways, these aren't cheap anymore, which is sad because I really wanted to get a bunch of them and play with my kids. I hope they re-release these and bring them back. Anyway, that's a video of what's in my box. It was really long already to just show you guys everything. I didn't want to go into too much detail on every one of these. So let me know if you had anything to say about anything I've shown here, to add, to ask, or anything you want me to go deeper in on. Oh, I guess there's one more thing here. My wife bought me an Optimus Prime Canada card in 2019. I don't know what to do with these. What do you do with the coin? Why did she give me a coin? It doesn't even transform. Wait, maybe I can transform this into money, like usable money. We'll see. As always, thanks for joining me. Peace out. Make it a great day.